Good evening, everyone. This is North Shore Preparedness coming to you from the cool and gray shores of Lake Ontario. Today is Saturday, October the 3rd, 2020, and it's a cool and gray evening. We're running about 6:30, 6 o'clock. Around about 6 o'clock here, and we have a temperature of about 10 or 11 degrees, or somewhere in and around 50 for my American brothers and sisters. It's a pleasant, cool evening, so I thought it'd be a very, very nice night to have a fire. You know, to me, there's nothing better to do with your downtime than have a fire. Now, I had a nice, very, very nice day today. It wasn't as productive as it should have been. However, the evening is not over yet. I will get to doing more. Yeah, I had a nice evening. I don't know if you guys watched last night's video, but you know, I expressed in that video that I was very, very tired from the week's work and the work and the prepping and gardening and things like that. It was you know, very, very tired. So so I had a nice sleep last night. I slept in this morning. You know, I woke up at around you know, it was kind of around 7:30, and I was like, yeah, nope. So I rolled over and I slept for another hour, and I woke up and again, and I looked at the clock, and it was like 8:30, and I'm like, yeah, nope. So I rolled over again for yet another hour. So I got out of bed at 9:30 this morning, which is like, that's ridiculously late for me. So I had a nice, good, rejuvenating sleep, and I feel much better today. So what I did was, you know, I got up and I went out and I got myself a coffee, and I took a drive out to my very, very good friends, Dan and Tina's place this morning, and you know, for a visit, because I had some things to bring over, and we had a bit of stuff to do. So so I went over there, and I got out of the vehicle, and you know, both of their vehicles were in the compound. You know, all of their vehicles were in the compound, and I knocked on the door, and there was no answer. And I thought, okay, well, you know, maybe they're out in the chicken coop, or you know, down in the back garden, or whichever, or out on the four-wheelers, or whichever. So I took a little walk around, and I walked over towards the chicken coop, and you know, I said hello to the ladies and the gentlemen that were over there. And when I did that, I was immediately accosted by like half a dozen turkeys. They were like, "Hey man, what's going on?" I'm like, you know, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? So I had a nice little walk and talk with the turkeys this morning, you know, while I was roaming around looking for my buddy and his wife. And you know, I walked the property and I didn't see them anywhere. It's like, oh, okay, well, maybe they're out on the four-wheelers. So I went and I checked, and it's like, no, all the four-wheelers seem to be, you know, in their spots, and they don't seem to be out or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, no, I'm just going to walk the property and, you know, have a look, see how things are doing. And so I walked over in behind the chicken coop where they had their garden this year, and there was nothing left in their garden. It's they've got it all pretty much taken out. You know, they got the rhubarb left in the back, which is doing great. It looks really, really good. And the horseradish, actually, that I brought them in early summer, it's still on the ground in the, like, kind of in the middle of their garden, and it's doing really, really well. So I was happy to see that. You know, maybe they'll get a nice fruitful harvest from that. So I was back there walking around behind the chicken coop in the garden area, and I heard a yell from the house, and it was Tina. And she's like, we're inside the house. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I knocked and I didn't have an answer. So when I went to knock on the door of the house, the door is inside the garage. So and the recycle is right beside the door, the paper recycle. So when I first got there and I went in to knock on the door, there was a turkey in there doing some recycling. There was a turkey in there shredding some paper. So that was pretty funny, and you know, it was cool at the same time. So I had a nice walk with the turkeys and talked with the chickens. They've added some birds to their laying flock, and I mean, when Tina walked around in behind, when she saw me behind the garden there, she took a walk back around, and she joined me back there, and we got to talking a little bit about her laying flock, and you know, that they've added some numbers to it, and they're almost to 70 now, laying birds. So that's fantastic. So I was asking her, like, you know, what's your sort of egg count for the day, and she was like, you know, sort of 40-ish, 40, 45 kind of deal, which is awesome. You know, they sell them out, and you know, they have a place to do that over at our farm, so that's awesome, you know. And Tina and I got to talking. We were talking about the eggs and all the eggs, and you know, selling them out, and she said that Dan had mentioned maybe he wants to make some pickled eggs, and they thought, well, we really have a responsibility to provide these eggs to people that want to buy them, so they didn't really want to use their own eggs. So it's kind of funny, they went out and they actually sourced some nice fresh eggs from a local farmer to make pickled eggs. So I got a pretty good chuckle out of that. But yeah, alright, so yeah, Tina came out and she collected me, and we went inside the house, and Dan was busy in there. He was working, processing some tomatoes, and putting together a pasta sauce to can. So that was nice. We sat in there and we had a good long chat for a while, and you know, it's always a nice visit with them. And you know, I brought Dan over a bottle of rum that I had made here. He also makes his own stuff, but he hadn't done the rum yet. So I said, well, I got a bottle, I'll bring it over to you. And I also brought a bottle of sauerkraut, which we opened and tested, and it's only a couple of weeks old. It was a little bit early to open it, but we opened it and tested it anyways, and I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that particular recipe, but you know, I'll leave the bottles go a little bit longer, and you know, see how it comes out after a few more weeks, because I got 5 gallons of it to go through, so we'll just see about that. But I you know, while we were over there, you know, sort of later in the visit, it was late morning and early afternoon, sort of time period when we visited. I got to taste some of Tina's pickles and beets, and you know, she did a very, very nice job on those. So that was awesome. Got some recipes to take home. It was great. We ended up doing some barter there, which I hadn't expected. You know, I brought some rum and some sauerkraut, and Dan asked if I needed any honey. It's like, well, no, not really. I've still got like half the jar that you gave me, and he ended up giving me another quart of his honey, which is freaking fantastic, as well as a bottle of his homemade mead, which is just awesome. Thank you so much, Dan. So it was a very, very fruitful trip. Some of you know I acquired some personal protection in the not too distant past, and we got that out there. Dan had a look at it for me because he's more familiar with these sort of things currently than I am, and so we had that looked at, and you know, checked it out and proofed it to make sure that it works correctly, and everything's working fine, and as it should. So that was very, very nice of you to do. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. So yeah, I had a very, very nice visit. It's always great to visit with them, and had a nice, enjoyable, relaxing early part of my day. I got home and I talked to the neighbor for a little while, and I thought, you know what, tonight might be a nice night just to relax and enjoy a fire. So here we are, and that's what we were doing tonight. But I had a question that I wanted to ask you guys. You know, I got to thinking the other day, and you know, about all this stuff that's going on with lockdowns and things like that. I'm going to try not to say the C word because YouTube doesn't like that C word, so we'll just try and avoid that. But what I want to know from you guys, okay, we've all seen the lockdowns, right? Lockdowns and self-isolations and those things like that. For a lot of people, it affected them really, really hard, and really threw a wrench into their life, and you know, how they live it and what they do and where they go and things like that. And for a lot of other folks, it didn't really affect them a lot, you know, because they stay at home anyways and things like that. But what I want to know from you guys is how lockdowns affected you. I know some people that are very, very social, and they had an extremely hard time through the lockdowns. It affected them very, very poorly, and other people not so much. But I want to know how it affected you guys. I also want to know if you guys are willing to share. Like, a lot of people use their time to do something. You know, people have lockdown decks. They built a deck during lockdown, or they painted their garages and whatever else. Myself, I made an experimental garden to see if you can grow food in the city. You can see right behind the fire back here, there's a pepper plant, and there's all kinds of peppers still on it. And that beast right there is one of the overtaking tomato plants. So that's one of the things that I did during lockdown. I did an experiment to see if you can grow food in a tiny urban setting. And the answer is yes. It was a successful experiment. It had massive failures, but overall it was a success. So I want to know how you guys spent your lockdown and how it affected you. Like, did you guys do something productive? Did you sit on the couch in your boxers for 3 months looking at Netflix? Or like, what did you do with it? You know, something I wanted to put out there. And if another lockdown does come, how will you be better prepared to spend your time next time? You know, because we're coming into higher numbers, right? So the same things may or may not happen again. So that's the query I have for you guys for this evening, is how did lockdown affect you, and how did you spend that time? Was it fruitful for you? Myself, yeah, I did the change out the garden, and I learned to can. You know, so win-win right there. Not to mention, I've got a whole ton of stuff that I need to find make a pantry space for, because in my little space I don't really have many spots for it. But I'll get to that, and once I do, I'll be sharing that with you guys. Okay. So I'm not sure how long this camera is going to run, but I'm going to leave it on the fire here for you guys for a while. I hope everyone's well and safe, doing well this weekend. You know, and getting some things done, and also relaxing and enjoying yourselves. So I'm just going to let this camera run out with the fire going on it for a little while, because you guys know me, there's just nothing better than a good fire. So that's what I've got for you guys this evening on this gray and cool Saturday. The good thing about it is the winds are very, very calm. There's no breeze, otherwise it would be probably a little bit too chilly to sit out here. So I hope we have a good, healthy discussion down in the comments. You know, feel free to chat amongst yourselves and do that. I see that kind of interaction happening, and that's awesome. You know, not only can I learn from you guys, but you guys can learn from each other too, which is you know, just another amazing bonus of putting out these videos and having the comments down below. And thank you guys for your participation in that. That's just amazing. I very much appreciate everyone's comment, and I try to get to all of them. You guys are so full of knowledge, and you know, it's just awesome of you guys to share. I think it's running out, so I'm going to call it. This is going to be North Shore Prepared.